Good morning, YouTube. It's Kyle Beret, and welcome again to my YouTube channel. I'm getting blown up. Let me silence my cell phone for a second. Hey guys, I just wanted to go over some things. I haven't traded yet today. I've just been really exhausted. But what I did know is I traded EJ last night on the push. It was actually just this little tiny baby push here. It was in the middle of the Nikki session, and it made the push. But as I said in my previous video, I do anticipate EJ going up, and eventually it did. And what price ended up doing was, if you guys watch my videos and you learn how the market moves, right? Price moves in waves, right? Price makes higher highs and higher lows if it's bullish, and lower lows and lower highs if it's bearish. So the move just wasn't ready to go yet. However, moving into the morning, you can definitely see when we're hunting momentum, we want price to break structures being in between zones, right? So if we look here from last night, my last night's trade did the same thing. We broke the structure and we were still in between the zones, right? There's the next zone. Just by looking left, you can even draw it across your screen more. You can see that it touched it multiple times previously, right? Just look left. When I'm drawing my zones, this is how I'm drawing my zones. I'm looking how many times price touched an area. I don't even need to look at where price is right now. You can just go straight left. You can see here, you can see here, you can see how it came up into here, then it hit here. It's a strong zone. So what happened? Well, price made another new higher low, and eventually by 6 a.m., we had the really nice push. So you guys know that when I'm looking for momentum, I'm looking for price breaking structures being in between zones. So what do we do again? Where's the next zone? Well, the next zone is in this whole wick range, going into this whole area. I don't usually like having a zone this big, but just to give an idea, this is where I would have drawn my zone. And I would have been looking left, and I would have been putting my TP in this whole wick range, not necessarily just the top of this. So first of all, we have that momentum. Why? Because price broke structure, and now we're in between zones. We broke structure and we're in between zones. So my steps that I would have taken is I would have said, what is the currency meter have? And the currency meter would have been just this, right? We would have had the Japanese yen that was still weak and the euro that was still strong. Now, of course, you cannot forget Forex Factory. And let's just see what happened. I know we had a lot of news this morning, a lot of USD news. We had some euro news early in the morning. Maybe it was good for currency. Let's see. It's good for currency. So if it's good for currency, that tends to mean that we might be pushing in the direction that is positive for that currency, which is the euro, which means that if we're trading a pair like EURJPY, that news can potentially spark a bullish push, a more bullish push, since the euro is strong. So we're always going to follow in the direction of that currency. So since the euro is stronger than the Japanese yen, that means that would potentially be a bullish push. So knowing that we didn't actually have the push, let's go down to the 15-minute. We didn't actually have the push until right at 5:30, right? Because we had so much consolidation all night long. And then finally we broke structure. So what does that mean? When price breaks structures and we're going to usually continue into that push, into that momentum, what's price going to do? Well, price is going to retest the points that price broke, right? So look at here. We broke structure. This was the trade I took last night. We broke the structure. And then look, we retested the structure. We even came so far to come all the way back to the structure multiple times until finally breaking the next structure, making a higher low now, right? We come right back to the point where price broke. That's how the market moves. We break a structure, we make a pullback, right? We break a structure, we make a pullback. As you can see, you see where we broke? Look where we came back to. Look where we broke, look where we came back to. The same rules apply. And so it wasn't until right as the news hit that boom, we had that momentum. Boom, we pushed. Which means that what's going to happen is looking at that 4-hour time frame. If you're just trading the 6 a.m. push, now we can clearly look at a chart and say, what did we do? Well, we broke the structure. It's very important to look at those technicals because check it out. Although I'm not really a technical and fundamental trader at all, I just trade the price action. If it's technically going up and fundamentally going up, it's going up. So I don't usually pay too much details to those kinds of things. I don't study those kinds of things too often. Maybe I should. I don't know. I just don't care. What I care is if price broke a structure and it's in between zones. That's what I care about. So my next step is going to be, if we've broken this structure, this is the only, we broke this whole area, we broke this, we broke this, we broke this, and we broke that most high. That's what's most important to me, is that we broke this most high. And you can definitely see how the candle closed stronger above. That's indicating strength. That's indicating a continuation of momentum. So where's that momentum going? Well, the first thing is going to be just into this whole wick range. And that's already 20-something pips. That's, what more do you need than that? But then, into this whole wick range here is where price actually went. And that was 60 pips. This is momentum. So we broke the structure in between zones. Now, when we look at that 15-minute time frame, that 15-minute time frame, this is right at 6 a.m. This is right at 6 a.m. We have the strength. We now have broken all structures. We've shown that price is in that momentum. The news potentially, or didn't potentially, it did. It pumped stronger strength into the currency for that time. And then if we go click by click, you can see what happened. Now we made the first new higher low after breaking all the structure here. Well, this is actually the first one. So this is the 2-1 and then now the 2-2, which is confirming structure. This is what it looks like. So you got the LL, the lowest low. Now you got the new HH, that's the new higher high. Now you have the new HL, which is the higher low. So now this is 2-1 confirm, 2-1, which is pushing into that momentum. Now we have the newest high high. The reason why this becomes the newest high high is because now that we have a pullback, it's signifying that this is the high because this is the liquidity. This is the pullback. So now we have the next higher low. Now, a question I get all the time is, Kyle, does it have to be one candle? Can it be two candles? Sometimes it's multiple candles. Like if you look here, like look, this is, it made a pullback and then it technically was 1 hour. This is 1 hour. Look, 4:45, 5, 5:15, 5:30, right? So this whole thing was technically 45 minutes, not quite 1 hour, but it was 45 minutes of making a pullback. That's true, that happens. This one was only one candle because we already have the momentum. The news is pushing the currency. The currency meter itself was favoring the Japanese or the euro so much stronger than the Japanese yen. So this is like your cheat sheet, right? I bet you UJ's also was going bullish. GBP JAPY is going bullish. You know, GBP AUD is probably going bullish. Just by looking at the currency meter, it helps you understand like what is a better pair to possibly trade based off momentum. And you definitely want to look here. And this is exactly what I would have looked at. So now we have the new higher low. So if our buys are around here, our stop loss is always going to be below that nearest resistance or support, right? So as you can see, wow, is it really 48 pips? Yeah, never mind. I'm never going to have a stop loss of 48 pips no matter what. This is maybe just trusting the trend at that point because 48 pips, that is incredible. I did not realize in retrospect how many pips this was. That's already 50 pips. So if you're buying that higher low, I mean, even right at news, you're looking to be done for the day regardless. But anyways, following the momentum, as you can see, if you're buying those higher lows, this is what it ends up looking like. So now we buy the new higher low. We have 4-hour momentum confirming that we're going bullish. So when you're even buying those higher lows, that's already 30 pips in 30 minutes. We're done. There's no reason why you really need to trade anymore. And then boom, it really came up and touched the top of that wick range, which would have been the top going into that whole zone. So your TPs are, it's hard to see because you have to go pretty far left to see where that wick range was. Yeah, it doesn't make sense looking at it on the 15-minute time frame. It was all based off that 4-hour time frame where we were able to get a good look looking left to say, well, if we're buying that, if we're buying the pullback, right? Like here's a little bit of liquidity that EJ had. So let's even say you buy just on the 4-hour candle. So you have a 13 pip stop loss to a 62 pip take profit. That's a pretty high risk to reward ratio, especially on compounded entries. But EJ ended up being the winner chicken dinner. I anticipated as from last night. Price just was not ready to make the push yet. I bagged my pips, whatever. I didn't catch the swing. It's no big deal. There's always things to work on. But let's look at UJ. I haven't looked at UJ. I haven't looked at anything except EJ. It was the only thing that was on my screen. So looking at UJ now, what did UJ do? UJ did the exact same thing. So now we hit the band, boom, make a new higher high. Why is it a higher high? Look where it broke. It broke here. Now it made a new higher low. And look at the liquidity, right? When price breaks the structure, it comes back. Here's the structure we broke. We came back. And this is on the 4-hour time frame. So keep in mind, it's going to do it on all time frames. And then what happened? Made a new higher low. Boom. It just launched. This is not my typical momentum style setup that I'm looking for. But even those lower time, because I'm looking to trade price breaking structures being in between zones, not buying the higher lows even on the 4-hour time frames. I don't have much skill in doing that, just being honest. And we can definitely see, well, what happened for the news. So this was not ideally something I even would have wanted to trade because we did have market structure, but by the time the news came out, you see we were making higher highs, higher lows. We make the pullback, but then what's significant is the fact that we made a 2-1 confirm right here on demand. Here's demand. We make a 2-1 confirm, and now we launch. Right, so now we have the new higher high, new higher low, changing structure after a news push. Although you can never anticipate how high it would go afterwards, you can see that without any other pullbacks, it was just a fake out to launch for news. So this is why I usually don't trade news. EJ ended up being much nicer. But just based off market structure, even on UJ, you can see that we just made a new higher low with a wick to potentially go and fill, although this is not my typical setup at all. Just want to go look through some pairs with you guys. So, okay, so EJ was actually, EURJPY was actually not bad. Because this is what you want to pay attention to. You want to pay attention to the fact that we just rejected, and it was super strong in engulfing. It did not pass this. I still consider this engulfing because we've broken other structures. It's strong. So let's look at what the lower time frame did. Okay, so look at what the lower time frame did. Right there for the news. Now we made the new higher, like, look, we broke all of this and we broke this. So what did we do? We broke the structure and price came back to the structure. Because this was the highest high at that point. And we came back to the structure. Sometimes it may just, maybe it won't be that strong. Maybe it would have been here and the pullback would have been to here. Right? Because you can say, well, Kyle, what if it came all the way down? Well, it could have. It could have came all the way down. Number one, it's news. You know, price moves volatile during news. But the same rules apply on EURJPY. Because we can see on EURJPY, look how strong that candle was. Okay, that's signifying a potential bullish push because look at the strength of the candle. So then you look at the lower time frame and what do? Boom, we made the launch. By the time 6 a.m. came, we made the pullback. So remember how I said in EJ? Like, Kyle, how many candles can the pullback be? Well, it all depends. Every day is different. Every setup is different. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 3, sometimes maybe it's 4. In this case, it was 1. It was 1 pullback for the launch. In this case, it was 2. It was 3 pullbacks for the launch. Look, so it wasn't until really 6:15, right? We made a pullback here at 5:45, 6 o'clock. 6:15, and then we had the launch. But nevertheless, you buy the pullback. And there's your money. So let's see really where that next zone was going to be. So my next zone that I would have drawn up would have been looking left. So if you're looking here, all you got to do is look left. Number one, you see that you could go back into this range. And then, of course, if you draw it further across the screen, you can see that it's a nice solid zone. But I would have been looking at this wick range here. That's where I would have been looking to set TP. So even if we're going to here, you can see, I mean, that's 8. Okay, so EURJPY doesn't actually move incredible amount of pips. But you can see even into that wick range of potential 20 pips. And so what happened? We made the pullback, and then even from the pullback, it launched those 39 pips in and out of the market. By the time 6:30 happened, you're already done. 30 minutes. The same thing here. 6:15, we made the launch. Maybe CHF had a little bit more strength. Maybe it's why maybe it didn't push so much, or it's just the way that the pair moves. I don't know. But the Japanese yen was weak and the euro was really strong. So just by looking at a pair where if you're identifying the momentum, if the euro is that much stronger than the Japanese yen, you had that 4-hour momentum. Now you have higher highs now and higher lows. That is your golden goose for how to identify the momentum and exactly where momentum is pushing. And then the key for everything is just being in between the zones. This was on a zone, so it's not my typical setup. It's really not, because that's where fake outs happen. However, with the euro being so strong because of news, you can see that we pushed, now we made a new higher low, and then it continued into the momentum. So we had the market structure though. Although it closed right on that zone, the 15-minute made the market structure, which you're looking for. And even here, the 4-hour zone. We broke structure there, and we broke above here. And now we were in between the zones. And looking left for the wick range, that's where all my TP would have been. This would have just been lucky if I ever hit 60 pips on one entry. That's just kind of luck for me, because I'm looking to close, because when I see too much money, that's what I want to do, is close. Just like last night. Last night on EURJPY. But the pullback here, if you guys watch my previous video, you'll see my pullback, my buys were here, and then it went up to 20 pips a position for 3, 2, and then I bought 2 more on the higher low here. Caught 10. I closed at 10. And then one of them, I had actually placed my stop loss in profit right below the higher low, just in case it just wanted to push, just keeping stop loss in profit, whatever. And price ended up hitting my stop loss at like around 6 pips. So 3 at 20, 1 at 10, 1 at 6. I'd say that was a pretty good day for me, just catching that momentum push as well for the Nikkei market open. But then, of course, we had the consolidation and an official much higher launch. Much more money was to be made this morning. Off of this 4-hour momentum, we broke all structures. Now we're in between zones. This is exactly what I want to look for every single day. Every day I want this style of setup. So hopefully you guys are able to learn a little bit of nuggets from this. I like to keep them short and simple nowadays. So of course, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I got a couple of them. Those of you who followed me, I was the Wolf of FX. I still have that name. I claimed it still. But the Instagrams that we use are Wickfill Wizards and the Wickfill Wizard, which is my personal page. My Facebook is just my name, of course, Kyle Beret. And my email, just in case you guys have any other inquiries. wickfillwizards@gmail.com. This is how you can get a hold of me if you don't already know how. I did not trade this morning. I woke up late, very tired. However, I just wanted to get on and provide a little bit more feedback for you guys, show you what my thought process would have been. And as you can see, I usually also don't trade news. But when momentum is there, the news can sometimes push it. So I usually don't like to trade right as the news hits, but you could use it for momentum. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you on the next one.